We're going to start, but we won't be doing any voting until we get another person, because we don't have a quorum. And we don't have the two chair and vice chair from facilities. Maureen, do you want to do program and staffing, start off?
Oh, sure.
I'll sign give you the stuff.
All right.
All right.
I'd like to call Program and Staffing Committee to order. It being 5:02. Agenda review in this position.
More stuff, Madam Chair.
In the minutes of November 19th, unless I hear any objections, they will stand approved as written. Okay. Indicator 13, monitoring review results.
Yes. As you know, all of our programs are reviewable by the state and the federal government. In the rotation, we came up for a written compliance check for indicator 13, and what that is in special education is that's the transition program for students that are here and they're transitioning out of high school into life. And there's certain requirements from the high school to do as students are transitioning out. As you can see by the content and the tone of the letter, the State Bureau of Student Support was very pleased, and we were given 100% compliance on indicator 13, which is very difficult to do. Believe me, they crawl through these folders and make sure that everything is all right. And I won't get into that, but they reviewed 8 pre-selected student files with IEPs, and those students are 16 years or older. And they went right in there with all 8 files meeting all 8 items within indicator 13. So that it really is a tribute to Tanya Orlando, her staff, Kathy Howard, who is here with us tonight doing the minutes, keeping that in compliance. This is not easy to do. Very pleased with the results, and those folks deserve a big congratulations. So that's very good news, and that's why we highlighted on program and staffing, because it does fall under your umbrella.
Okay.
Especially our program.
Does anybody have any questions for Mark? Okay, move on to request for leave.
Yes, we have a request for a leave that you'll take up in non-public session during the course of the regular school board meeting, a routine request.
Okay.
And also, Madam Chair, we have a volunteer list for you to approve for member sports that would also be taken up in non-public session.
All right. Okay, any other business? Hearing none, we'll move, do I hear a motion to, no, we're not going to go to non-public yet, we'll do that after. So a motion to adjourn program and staffing?
So moved.
Are there enough for a second? Enough of this? Yes, you're on that. Yes, okay. Program and staffing then is adjourned.
Do we have anything in facilities? We don't have anything in facilities that has to go through them first,
Information, Madam Chair.
but nothing. But let's, I guess I'll do it. Why not?
Yes, it's easy.
Minutes for November, agenda review and disposition.
I'm all set.
So the minutes are shown, and unless there are any amendments or corrections, they stand approved as written. Budget items?
Yes, in your budget for FY21, there is one line 782, and that contains the security gate upgrade at all security entrances. That will be going from a chain link, with a padlock on it to a gate that lifts with a code, and the police officers will have that code, emergency folks will have that code, along with park and rec folks and people that are using those entrances on a day-in, day-out basis. That recommendation came from Homeland Security, State Police, and police and fire department. We had an incident, a false alarm at Plymouth Elementary School, but people responded to that alarm, and they came from all directions. And so when we came up to Merrill Street and tried to come into the campus that way, couldn't get in. So they literally left their cruisers there and ran to Plymouth Elementary School. So that just doesn't work anymore. It was an old solution to an issue. So proposed in the regular budget is upgraded security gates and also some upgraded backlighting for that black area you see right out there. In that area, that would be completely upgraded. There is some light out there, but much better security lights. And those lights will be fastened so they don't bother the neighbors. The technology now is straight down rather than up and out, keeping everybody away from that. So those, I just want the budget committee to know that's exactly what is in the line for this year forward this summer. It'll be obviously a light summer on campus. We're in really good shape. So the fields will be done, and then that work will be upgraded. And that'll be a big summer on campus. So it's informational damage.
All right, thank you. Any other business? Well, next meeting is January 21st. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Maureen? Yep.
Oh, I am, yes.
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 And Ernie? Would you like to say? Thank you. So that stands adjourned.
Being 5:09, I call the Policy and Budget Committee. Open. Approval of minutes. Anybody have any changes to the minutes of November 19th? No? So I approve them as written. Chromebook for testing.
Yes.
Yes.
Attached to your agenda tonight, Mr. Chairman, is a request to use $35,000 out of the 1920 budget for the purchase of 175 Chromebooks. And you don't need me to read this to you, but basically the story behind this is we are replacing those Chromebooks, and we need to upgrade what the students have because we are doing the digital online SAT testing. Thank you. So it's a request from out of our existing budget to upgrade that. So this memo is from Kylie Kapp, your technology director here at the high school. So just take a moment to have you read that, and Bruce and I would be happy to respond to any questions.
Sorry. Yeah. Where in the budget actually for this year is it? Is there a line item?
There's a line item for technology. We will run over it, but also we have the ability to look at next year's budget, and the Chromebooks are in next year's budget as well. So what we would do is an accounting measure would be prepaid expense. So we'll expense some of the Chromebooks in this year's fiscal budget and some of it in next year's fiscal budget.
So it won't affect the new, anything in the new budget that we're gonna?
No,
Okay.
none whatsoever.
We reached a point in technology where we kind of put stuff on a cycle, and every 7 years or 3 years replace, like we
Yes.
athletic uniforms and equipment and stuff.
Right,
We reached that point.
and the technology folks are doing that right now. We found a couple of pockets where we have some issues, and that's the buildings issue, that's our job. And so this is sort of a make-up year for us, but after this, we'll get onto a regular cycle, and we'll be fine, not only with Chromebooks and tablets and things for the students, but also we have a couple of servers in the building, and also all the Wi-Fi. So we feel, Bruce and I feel pretty confident with Kylie Kapp in charge of things.
Yeah.
Will we, if there is money surplus at the end of this year,
Yes,
would we use that to balance that line where we're the $35,000? Is that what you're saying?
that's one of the options. The other option is to use some money from next year's budget as a prepaid expense, because some of these Chromebooks are scheduled to be purchased next year. We need to get them right now in order to do the testing. So it would be an accounting prepaid expense.
Yeah.
Cash cash in-house can pay for it, but we would expense it in both fiscal years.
For what it's worth, we have the option.
Yes, and
My preference would be to take it out of this year's
Right.
budget. To me, it's cleaner.
I agree, but that's the backup plan, if we have special
Okay, no.
ed issues.
Could you explain the difference between, what's the difference between Chromebook carts and Chromebooks? Is it, I mean, is the cart
Well, the
part
cart-
of it, or is that
Yeah, the
just?
cart handles 24? 24. Yeah, the cart handles 24 Chromebooks, and when the Chromebooks are in the cart, they're being charged.
Okay, so once everyone has their own, the Chromebook carts will go away then?
Well, you'll still probably have a couple around the building,
Okay.
just from.
Yeah, the library has library will
Library.
keep checking out all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yes, theoretically, yes, and once your plan does a full cycle of every freshman getting a Chromebook when they walk through the door, the need for those will be very limited.
Anyone else? And we have to make a motion.
Yes, please.
Do I hear a motion to purchase the Chromebooks out of this year's budget? Is that what the motion would be? Mark, make a motion by this year's budget? Is that what the?
Make a motion to have the flexibility to purchase them now, but with the flexibility to use both fiscal year budgets, be determined in the spring by the board.
Okay,
So
Tim?
we would,
What do you said? Okay, second?
Yeah.
Attorney, second? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we'll bring it to the full committee. Fiscal year 21 budget review, warrant article review.
yes, first of all, I just want to make sure that everyone's comfortable with budget draft number 2, and on the bottom line, top page for you is the assessment.
Is that in the packet?
No, it was a handout tonight.
Oh,
But you guys have had it for a couple weeks. This is the same
I missed
budget.
the last meeting, so.
Yeah.
Anyone else need one?
I have one that says draft 1.
No, we need a
Who's drafting? So when you look at the front page, you go down below the box that says it's the 1, 2, 3, fourth grouping down. It says 2021 versus 1920. The assessment for 2021 would be $14,602,931. Is everybody with me?
Yep.
And the previous year was $14,252,241. That assessment increase would be 2.4606% increase of roughly $350,000. The next box below, you can see the individual assessments to the towns, and I will use Plymouth. You can see that their assessment for the high school would be $3.4 million, subtract adequacy from the state of $1,228,000, so their actual raising in property taxes, $2.184 million. Plymouth tax rate last year was $4.56 a thousand, and they're looking at, with this budget, $4.55 a thousand, and that's a rounding difference. It's either going to be a cent up or a cent down on this, but Plymouth's equal net assessed valuation at $480 million should rise significantly, given construction on Tenny Mountain Highway. So I suspect that they will have a decrease in their taxes, but you can follow along all the other taxes. To Ashland, it's be up 30 cents, Campton 17, Old Innis is literally 0. Plymouth is down 2 cents, Rumney's down 16 cents, Thornton is up 29 cents, and Wentworth would be up 16 cents. And again, that's a factor of adequacy and net assessed valuation. So that's the run that we had with draft number 2. Any questions at all on the budget? We went through it. It's a significantly the other night. I'm happy to mark out the highlights for you. And some of them are line 215, we have to add bilingual education or English language learners. That's up $24,000. Referee salaries on line 390, that's up $10,000. Nursing services, with a new contract, that's actually down. OT is up $10,000. Ed media, we eliminated a position, 0.4. That's a $36,000 savings. The SAU is up, and that reflects the new technology position that was added at the other night's meeting. And it repairs to the building, line 782. That's up, as I said, that's up about $47,000. That reflects the security gates in the back lighting. It really is a maintenance budget. In terms of FTEs, you all have these charts that we had handed out a couple weeks ago. We have eliminated, we've gone from 39.4 regular ed teachers in the 1100 account to 37.4, and that was done through attrition. We had 3 teachers retiring in that account, and budgeted only the replacement of 1 of those teachers. And so when you look at professional staff, our totals have gone from 66.8 FTEs down to 64.4 in this budget. And again, it reflects an enrollment drop. Support staff, really driven by the 1210 account, which is the special ed aides. That has gone from 43.7 this year down to 43.2 with half the position was eliminated.
That can be fairly flexible depending on who comes through the door.
Absolutely. And we're pretty flexible, and in fact, we had two people retire in the language arts department, and 1 person retired in science. But we will be posting positions after the kids choose their courses for next year, so that we're placing our resources in departments that are really needed. We knew we were running a little bit high in science in terms of FTEs, also in social studies. So we'll wait and see where the kids sign up for classes they go to. But with health insurance at 6.9% and special ed, some of those accounts are up. We felt pretty comfortable at the 2.4%. I think it's a solid budget. It maintains what you have. You're not falling behind. You're maintaining what you have, and you're making some improvements in some areas.
Mark, for the budget hearing, can we get the same document, the cheat sheet, I guess I would call it, where it shows what the main drivers are in the budget?
Yes.
I think that was very helpful. I heard from some people in the public, very helpful to show how much we actually have control over versus how much we don't have.
We'll do a pie chart and a couple of other things.
Okay. Thank you.
Along that line, I can't remember last year if it was just a table, but to have like a line graph showing ups and downs of the budget over the last, whatever, time frame.
Yep.
Yeah. Those visual, either whatever, line graph, bar, whatever, but it just, I think it gives people, like, we had the lady here, what, a month or 2 ago, and for her to be able to see, I won't say her, me, to see how it changes over time, because the board.
I think you're talking about this. This is a chart that people really seem to enjoy. This is a 12-year history of assessment increases and decreases.
Yeah.
And so if you look at our 12-year average, our average assessment increase is 2.35%. And I think that's what our guest that night really focused in on.
Could be.
Sort of said, I'm at the wrong school.
Exactly. To see, and again, I can be one that likes graphs, but to be able to see that like that, I think pretty significant alleviates the need to have some discussion around it. You can just look at a picture of it.
And then, as always, we will have employment history. This one goes back a long way, back to 2000. 2009. So it's 10 years of employment history in each account, number of FTEs. People like that. The history of unreserved fund balance used to reduce taxes. You're over $4 million now. And here's your history. The history of the district, which is about 31 years old, something like that. History of medical insurance rates. The annual, the average pool rate over 21 years has gone up ours has gone up 8.7% annually. The entire pool has gone up 8.34% annually. So that it gives you, it shows you that some of those years where it went up 27%, and also shows you the years that went down 8%. So it's a pretty good history of that. So people come in with a prepared speech, have to sort of take the facts into account before they give their speech. Here's some enrollment projections, 19 and 20 all the way to 28 and 29, based on current enrollments. So there's a lot of information that we have online, and that'll help people understand how the finances as transparently as we can make it. So what I do need, Mr. Chairman, is a vote to move, there's a whole row of those handouts right there. The whole, to move budget draft 2 to a public budget hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved.
Let me, if I can, Mr. Chairman, let me hand out the warrant articles.
Yeah.
There would only be 4 of them. Which is kind of nice.
No. Thank you.
And these warrant articles will be available at your budget hearing. The first one is the negotiate and execute tuition contracts that allows us to work with Ellsworth, Warren, and other districts in receiving students, but also working with other districts if we have to send students out. So this is the line that gives us that authority. The second one is your special ed borrowing. There's some question on, Dan Rossner is researching, is whether we've had this passed so much, whether it needs to continue to be a warrant article or not. I put it in here tonight because I don't have an answer to that. But I'm not offended by putting it on the warrant every year. It just tells people what you're doing, really. We've never used it, but it's backup in case we really get into a financial jam. School board contingency, this is by state law. You fund a contingency account. We've historically had $1,000 in there. And people will get up and say, I remember Kenny Sutherland saying this, what's $1,000 in an X amount of million budget? It's not so much that, it is that there can be a category that we don't have $1 in a line item. And that allows you to legally do something that you don't have a line item to do. So that's really the reason that we carry a contingency account. And as always, if we don't use that $1,000, it goes back to reduce taxes. And then the operating budget, which is the gross amount of $15,772,934. That would be in the warrant article as the budget draft 2 gross number. And then with you approving this tonight, Dan Roskin will then apply the law of the default budget and come up with a number for the default budget. I don't ever remember us not getting the real budget. People have been very generous and have great confidence in the board. But the default budget probably be lower than that number, but that will be there. And then Dan goes through a whole process. And the state law has tightened up significantly, so it takes him a couple days to work through that to see what's legally in the default budget. So those would be the warrant articles that would be available at the budget hearing. Have to be available. And then, so at the budget hearing, you would either amend or adopt the budget. Same with the warrant articles. If it's the same same, then those warrant articles then go on to the deliberative session, which is in February.
So we don't do anything with these now?
No, nothing now. Warrant articles are just going along based on you approving the budget draft.
Any questions on the warrant articles? Those seem to be the four we have every year.
Yeah. Any other question?
Fiscal year 19 audit management representative letter.
Yes, Kathy signed off on, your audit is done. I'm pleased to say we have a completely clean audit, and that is on summary of audit differences, and the big box is checked, not applicable, and so there's nothing there. And Kathy has signed off saying that she and all board members, along with Dan and myself, have given the auditors all the information that they need to do an audit. So it's here, it's clean, and really, I thank Jen Sanborn, Dan Rossner, and Lynn White, Lynn Davis in our office. They do a terrific job in managing your budget. So thank you to them. And to Bruce and Janice here in the building, where all that money goes through.
New Hampshire Doe Federal Fiscal Margin Report results.
Yes, one of the highlights of my career when these folks come. Say that's on the sheet. We were audited by the New Hampshire Department of Education, and this is going through all the policies that we have to have in order to accept and expend federal funds. So as you walk through there, all read, this policy appears to generally meet the requirements of authorizing legislation. So that's as good as it's going to get. There was one issue that we did have, and let me highlight that for you because you don't need to go over the gold stars. I want to show you where they weren't very pleased with this. Corrective action. It's on page 4 of their report. During our review, there were 2 activities in question. Indirect cost. That's the amount of money that we keep as revenue from the grant for administering the grant. The indirect cost rate for Pemmibaker School District is 5.5%. While reviewing the Title IV-A account, activity 76870 for September 2019, it appears as though Pemmibaker was using 5.6%, resulting in a difference of $10.19. In reviewing in Title II, Part A, project number 2019-0260 for August of 2019, while reviewing the Title II, Part A activity for August of 2019, it appears that Pemmibaker was using a indirect cost of 5.6%, resulting in a difference of $15.16. So as you can see down below, we owe the state, the federal government through the state, whatever those 2 add up to. I asked if I could write them a check there on the spot, and they said, oh no. That they would subtract it from our next payment in those accounts. So other than that corrective action, we had another extremely clean audit, and I thank Dan Rossner and Dan bookkeepers. They keep track of all the policies, and thank you. You passed all those policies. So.
Don't they always find something?
That's been my history.
But, and Mark, when I did the grant, when those indirect costs often swayed, and I didn't always get notification of them going between 0.5% or a whole percent, so.
Yes,
there's that
obviously,
too.
we must have rounded up, and they expected us to round down, so.
Yep.
I think it's admirable considering what the funds we're dealing with.
$15 million.
$25 off.
Yeah, and then there's another $55 million rolling. Well, 15 is part of $55 million rolling through University of 48, so $10.19. But I wanted to make you aware of some of the highlights of my life.
Okay,
Good job.
yes, thank you.
It's really the end of that.
Any other business to come before the committee at this time? Our next meeting will be January 23rd of the next year.
When is the next budget meeting?
Yes, it's at your next board meeting,
Okay.
and that we will be having that budget hearing. is
January 7th.
January 7th.
January
It doesn't say January 7th is a future meeting, it says January 21st, the next meeting.
Well, the
Well, that's a
meeting,
committee.
The full board and the budget hearing will be on the 7th.
At 6.
I think it's 6:30 for the big, 5 o'clock for the regular board.
Right,
and
5.
6.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Okay. Second?
Sure.
All opposed, signify by saying aye. All opposed, we are adjourned.
So I will call the school board meeting for the Pemmy Baker Regional School to order. Agenda review and disposition. We all have the minutes from December 3rd. Unless there are any corrections or amendments, they stand approved as written. Ainsley.
Okay, so today at the high school we had a assembly kind of thing called Vision of a Graduate. We started the day off by meeting in our advisories, and then we all watched a 90-minute documentary about a charter school in California. Following this, we had a 45-minute block where we met in groups of advisories of all grades. So, for example, my group was 2 freshman advisories, a junior advisory, and a senior advisory. And in these groups, we brainstormed and answered questions about what we think a PRHS graduate should look like, meaning what skills and what qualities they should have to get them ready for college or anything that they're pursuing after high school. We wrote these down on big sticky notes and we gave them to student services for the faculty to review. I also have 2 official recommendations from the Student Senate. As I said earlier, this year we broke down into committees. One of the recommendations is coming from the Student Life Committee and another from the Dress Code Committee. So the Student Life Committee would like to put forward a recommendation that earn time students, instead of having to show up at 8:15 if they have first block earn time, that they don't have to show up until 8:50. So I passed out the paper to everyone, but this is heavily supported by the staff in the main office. We wanted to make it 9 o'clock, but this is the busiest time of the day because it's the start of break, so we pushed it to 8:50. But they really favor this because a lot of earn timers, when they come in at 8:15, they forget to sign in, and they're marked absent all day, and Miss Veronica has to call the parents, and this is kind of annoying for her, but if we don't have them come in until 8:50, then this is avoided, so they won't have as many absent calls. So we included the strike through. It's an amendment to section 11, and the only change that would be necessary to the handbook is changing 8:15 to 8:50.
It has my full approval.
And the vote for this was out of 14 for the Student Senate. 13 said yes, and 1 person abstained from voting. From the Dress Code Committee, our recommendation is basically to allow tank tops. So the current rule is that garments that allow bare midriffs or undergarments to show, the front of the shirt or blouse should be no lower than 2 inches from the student's collarbone or nape of the neck. Shirts must cover the student's torso and shoulders. Halter tops, sleeveless shirts, garments with spaghetti straps, and tank tops are not allowed. So we're proposing that a new rule would allow tank tops as long as they cover a minimum of 1 inch from the armpit and they're 3 inches wide on the shoulder. This would make it so that people couldn't wear cutoff tank tops that go super low on the side, but it would also allow people to wear tank tops in the hotter months as long as they follow these rules.
That has my approval too.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How would the folks who are doing the checking on the policy, the administration, how do they feel about this? And is that something that they're able to work with a new policy like that? As far as measuring and that kind of thing?
That would be my office, and yeah, we're comfortable.
All right.
I met with Janice, I met with a number of people, we're comfortable with it. They've been decent, so, you know, if it doesn't meet if it's out of place, they'll be addressed. We don't measure, we don't do that. There was a number of items that I turned down that they had requested, you know, they want to go lower. I wouldn't do that, so. This is fine.
On the,
350?
on the first policy, how does this relate to the work where I think we have a subcommittee looking at altering the schedule, start time schedule?
It wouldn't affect it at all.
Okay.
It wouldn't affect it at all. If the schedule changes, depending on the amount, they may back up, they may have to come in at 8:40 if we change the schedule. It wouldn't affect it at all. Not at all. This really, it helps the kids. If they don't sign in at 8:50, then they'll lose this privilege.
Okay.
So it makes it easier for me.
I've got a question about that policy too. The 8:15, when they arrive at 8:15, what are they expected to be doing? Is that study hall time?
No one has a study hall. They obviously don't have a class first period, so a lot of them go down to eat, a lot of them will hang out here, a lot of them will go to the learning common, but they don't have a class first period, so.
So it's just a hang around?
Yeah, it allows them to sleep in, basically. It's, you know,
But they were
It's a big
supposed to
benefit.
be here at 8:15?
8:15, yeah, and we were doing that for attendance-wise and all that, but we can do.
Yeah,
Oh, just for attendance
Yeah,
purposes?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they don't miss a class, and they don't
No,
have a
I was
class.
wondering why you would want them here early.
No, it's a privilege for them. You know, some may back up, they may take a class last period and use this first period to sleep in.
I've had a lot of students come to me about that. So it was basically for in-house purposes, to be able to do attendance.
Yeah.
They had to come in and report, and then they had to hang out and wait, and now you're able to figure it out in-house, and,
Yeah.
okay. Good, great.
So we had a lot of students come to us asking us to pursue this, mainly because for a lot of students who have last block study hall, they get to leave at 12:45, and if they have D-lunch, they get to leave at 12:15. So that's like the full block you get to leave, so a lot of people were upset that they didn't get to come in a full block late, so we wanted to get as close to that as possible.
It was an attendance thing I had to deal with, so we worked it out. It's good.
All right. Now, is that
I'll
something
be-
we can vote on?
Yes.
As opposed to
Correct.
You have
send
a
it
choice,
to
you can vote
policy?
on it tonight if you're all comfortable, or you can send it off to policy and budget committee. It's really your choice. I hope the principal and I fully support the changes.
Does
It'll
anyone?
start after, if you approve it tonight, it'll start after the break, when we come back.
Does anyone see a need to hold it to policy and budget? Yeah, let's vote on it then.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah,
Yes,
need
we
one.
would need a motion, sorry, because it's not coming from committee.
We're going to do both at the same time?
Yes, let's do both, unless someone does not want to do both. Yeah, let's do both at the same time then.
Move them just as they've been written.
Yep,
I'll move both.
You want to second that? All
thank
right.
you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All set?
Yes.
Before she goes, she did talk about today, the students really need to be commended. You would walk around this building and see close to 650 kids get involved. You could hear a pin drop in the gym to watch the movie, but to watch them work in group, I think we're going to get some good feedback from the kids. I'm real proud of how they handled themselves today with the staff too. They did a great job. So this NEAC has total buy-in from this high school. So, and it was a work in progress today, as Nancy pointed out.
It must have been interesting working with the different
Yeah, it really was.
ages, levels,
It was
because
nice.
that would change as you get older.
Yeah.
Good
All
job.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and have a good vacation.
You too.
Mr. Halloran?
My report is contained in the committee reports, Madam Chair.
All right.
What's up?
Mr. Parsons?
She did a great job, but I just have two. Under SEC, I can take it up now. I have a request for a Martha Burtis from Plymouth. I'm looking to put on the SEC, so if I can have a motion to put Martha Burtis from Plymouth on the SEC, that was the first one.
Do I hear a motion to put Martha Burtis?
Thank you.
Here, a second. All those in favor? All right.
And then my second request under my report, Madam Chair, is a request for the senior class. They are doing two trips. We've already approved one. They're going to New York City. They're going, and that's like 45 kids for what they're going to a play. And some touring that you approved. And they would like to do a class trip to Boston, which is pretty reasonable. So it's like a duck tour, 98 dollars. It'd be during the day, no overnight. It'll be for May 15th, but I would need school board approval to allow them to do this function trip.
Do I hear a motion to
Make that
approve?
motion.
A day in B-town for the seniors.
Okay, so it's just a day class trip for seniors
Correct.
to Boston. So we
10
have a
o'clock
motion
is
from
there.
Lisa, seconded by me. All those in favor? Bonnie, sorry.
They come back, Mark, at a 5 o'clock dinner, so they'll be back here around 8, 9 o'clock. They're pretty good. They're doing the tea, they're doing Quincy Market, they're doing a duck tour. They have a dinner at Fire and Ice, so it's a pretty good deal.
Were there any opposed or abstaining on that? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, that's it for me.
So committee progress reports, we only have 2 votes in policy and budget. So coming from policy and budget, we have a recommendation to purchase Chromebooks with the flexibility to use either year's budget. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed and abstaining? And then we have a recommendation to approve budget draft number 2 for $14,602,931. Is that right?
That's right.
Dollars. All those in favor?
No, that would be the net amount. The gross amount would be the
15,600. 15,772.
That's it.
15
million.
15 million. 15,000 would be nice. $15,772. $772,934. And that would be to present at the budget hearing on January 7th. Let's try that again. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed and abstaining. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion items?
No.
Board member concerns? I just would encourage everyone to come to the January 7th budget hearing, to attend that, please.
Yes, what time is that again?
It's right after our board meeting.
Board meeting
Oh,
is
so
on,
being here
and
for
the
the-
hearing will be at
Okay.
6:30.
Yeah.
We're going to do the hearing in this room. I think most of our crowd is behind the camera, so I think we can accommodate any people who do show up. It's a more comfortable room than the cafeteria. The deliberative session will be downstairs because that's when the supervisors of the checklist and everybody comes for that evening, and we need the space. But for the budget hearing, I think we'll all be more
That sounds good.
comfortable in this room.
Which would be nice. Yes?
Do we need to approve the warrant articles?
You can if you want. Yes.
Not tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can if you want. You've approved Article 4 by approving the budget. But the others are sort of routine business. You will, the night of the budget hearing, though, you'll formally adopt the warrant articles and...
There's one that's kind of flexible, you're not sure it's going to be on there or not, but it's special.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, thank you.
And we do have a non-public session coming out, program and staffing. Very briefly, list of volunteer coaches and also request.
I'll move if we go into non-public.
I'll second.
Second, all those in favor, yes, 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 yes.